On self-confidence. And I wanted to share, before we dive into self-confidence, a perspective which is I'm doing my best to shine a different angle on these questions. We can find a tremendous amount of videos on self-confidence, on criticism, on not being enough, etc. And my purpose here is to do my best to shine a slightly different angle, different color, different questions, maybe for a larger amount of awareness as to why these things occur in our lives and why we experience those things within ourselves. When we think about self-confidence, one of the first questions that comes up for me is, would you consider that it's possible that a part of us lacks self-confidence for a couple of reasons? What if one of those reasons, that we feel a sense of insecurity or not being enough, is because we have been afraid or ashamed to outshine our parents? What if there's a part of us that holds ourselves back because we learned how to fit into our family dynamics by being less than our parents? Maybe said in another way, we learned to parent our parents by not outshining them. And it can be your mother, it can be your father, it could also be friends, family, schoolmates, etc. If at a moment in your life you felt a sense of shame about being more than others, you felt a sense of attention by being less than others, that literally can be enough to create a driver in your life to hide. And we think being insecure and hiding and not having self-confidence, those all seem very unpowerful positions to be in. And yet, the paradox is they can be extremely powerful places for us to be in. We can get our emotional needs met literally by being less than others, dumbing ourselves down, hiding who we truly experience ourselves to be. When I'm working with a client around self-confidence, one of my questions would be, where did you learn to hide? Where did you first learn that when you were more than others, you were shamed for it? Maybe people called you cocky or arrogant, or someone said you're getting too big for your britches, or don't shine, be humble. These are all very subtle ways that we learn how to hide as children. And I know that doesn't make much sense from our adult logical mind. Around a lot of these questions, it can be really powerful to imagine yourself as a child again. What did it feel like as a child? And I'll give you a quick example from my own life. I've grown up playing ice hockey, and I'm pretty confident in my hockey skills. In fact, I'd say I'm a pretty good player. This summer, I went to go play in a tournament, and the tournament happened to be at one of the rinks that I grew up playing in. And I had a lot of associations with that rink. I played at that rink when I was obese, when I was slow, when I wasn't good at hockey, when I was uncoordinated, when I was still learning the game. And what I found most fascinating, speaking of insecurity and lacking in confidence, I played horribly during this tournament. And it was really fascinating to me to play at a rink that I originally played at as a kid, where I had associations and stories with what this rink represented to me, And I literally reverted back to being that version of Jator. My point here is this happens to all of us in so many different environments. And what are the environments in which you learned that you're actually powerful by being insecure? And how do we move ourselves into another state of awareness? For me, one of the most powerful ways to move into another state of awareness is to understand what's driving the insecurity in the first place. It's complex, and there's a tremendous amount of threads to this sweater. So consider this. Where did you learn to hide? Where did you learn that you were very powerful by hiding? Where did you learn to dumb yourself down so others could feel tall and you could feel small, at least in part? Those would be some first places to start around building self-confidence in a new way. We'll dive into a little bit more practical reasons in the next video, and we'll talk a little bit about raising our courage over our shame and fear. Talk soon, friends.